Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Minute with the Mayor. Today I'd like to talk to you about water. In normal times we have enough water in Haverhill, but we're now undergoing the worst drought in at least 26 years. We've asked everybody in the city to conserve, and almost all of you have, and I want to thank you publicly for that. We've cut our gallonage down. We cut our daily usage down a couple weeks ago when I asked you not to water your lawns on a weekend, and we cut it down about 2 million gallons that weekend. Keep up the good work. And for those of you that aren't complying, it has to be a common sense of shared sacrifice. We need everyone to join in and everyone to help. In the short term, this is going to get us through it. But the last drought we had in 1990 lasted for 2 to 3 years. If this drought continues, even these measures aren't going to be enough. We'll have to impose mandatory restrictions instead of voluntary ones. Those restrictions will have to be ramped up and up and up. None of this is what we want to go through in the long term. About 7 years ago, we started looking at how can we get more water for a growing city, a city that's growing, not by leaps and bounds, but a little bit. And how can we get enough water so we can always attract new businesses and new jobs to our city? We looked at a lot of different places. We looked at Plug's Pond. We looked at drawing more wells. We looked at Johnson's Pond and Chadwick's Pond. And we came up with there's only one way to get more water to serve our population. And that's from wells dug near the Merrimack River. Not the Merrimack River itself, but wells dug near the river. The difference is that wells dug near the river are going to have a filtering effect. Almost all the communities around us, including Methuen and Lawrence and Lowell, have drawn their water from the Merrimack River for decades without any problems whatsoever. We need to move forward to do that so that our citizens will always have enough water. 100 years ago, the people that ran the city of Haverhill planned for the future. They bought up land around Winnie-Kinney. They bought up land around Millvale to make certain that our water supply was protected. We need to have the same foresight and planning that our forefathers did. The way we're designing this, and we've been working on it for years, it will be a backup water source so that when we have a severe drought, we can pump water directly into the treatment plant at Canosa. It will treat the water before it goes into the lake, and you will never know the difference. It will be the same. Obviously, we're not going to send untreated river water to people's houses. Now, I know that for some of you who remember what the Merrimack was like 50 years ago, this can be a scary process. But there is no other way to make certain that we have adequate water for our citizens. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be going before the City Council to talk about this a little bit more, to update all of you on what we've done over the past 7 years, how the test wells that we've dug, and it will take another 2 to 3 years before we can actually get up online. So we want your input, we want your advice, but this is something that we need to do. How do we pay for it? We're going to need to talk about next. I have some ideas on that. And then we need to talk about a long-term water master plan. How can we best conserve water for the future? What types of development can we put in, called low-impact development, so that we put more groundwater into the ground so that we need less water? No matter what we do, we're going to need water from the Merrimack, but what other things can we do to make certain that our future is always protected? I'll talk more about this in weeks to come. Let me know what you think. I'm Mayor Jim Fiorentini. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back in a week or two.